Okay, 6-5, using the percent proportion. Percent proportion is going to be sort of like a formula we're going to learn today to use to solve percent problems. We have percent problems all the time in real world situations. In fact, you see them in your everyday life. What I'd like you to do for me right now is list 3 examples of when you see percents, 3 different kinds of examples of when you see percents in your life. Vocabulary, percent proportion, we're going to be comparing a ratio to a percent. That's what a percent proportion is, okay? The part in the percent proportion is the part of the whole thing being compared. So in our example right here, the part is 3. We're looking at 3 parts out of a thing that has 4 things in it. Say we had a rectangle like this. We're looking at these 3 parts out of something that has 4 parts to it. And it's a total of 4. Or we can think of it as 75% or 75 parts out of the 100. So your top number is your part. That's the part of the whole thing. The base is the whole thing itself. So the bottom number is what we call the base. 4 is the whole thing over on this ratio. 100 is the whole thing on that ratio. Um, don't forget that percent is the ratio of a number to 100. So 45% actually means 45 parts of the whole 100. This is the part, 45 parts out of a base of 100. All right, I'd like you to write 2 other examples of a fraction and its percent. So here we have 3/4 and its percent is 75% or 75 over 100. I'd like you to put down in your notes 2 other examples. All right, I'd like you to copy this key concept. This is the percent proportion right here. The part over the base equals a percent over 100. Part over the base equals a percent over 100. That's what we'll be using throughout this entire lesson. All right, here's our example. Think of what your homework might look like, all right? Find the percent. 5 is what percent of 8? Here we have a block of 8, of something divided into 8 parts. 1, 2, 3. And we want to find out what percent, if I used up 5 of those parts, what percent is that? So the part, in this case, is going to be 5. The whole thing that we have is 8. There are 8 of them. And the percent is what we don't know. So we're going to write our percent proportion based on what we know. We're going to put our part over our base. We have a part of 5 over the whole thing, which is 8, and we're going to set that equal to some percent. We're going to find out what percent it is. We don't know, so we're going to call that x over 100. Whenever it says what percent, whenever you see what percent, think x over 100. I'm going to do lots of these guys, so don't panic if it feels uncomfortable right now. It's going to be really easy. Okay, now we just solve our proportion. 8 times x equals 5 times 100. So 8x equals 500. Divide both sides by 8. And we find out that x equals 62.5. That means x right here is 62.5. 62.5 over 100, or 62.5%. We did our first one. All right, let's look at another one, similar. We're going to identify the part, the base, and the percent in our problem. What percent? Oh, I see what percent. So right away, I know we don't know what our percent is. So we're going to have x over 100. What is the part and what is the base? What percent of 4 is 7? We have something. So we have 4 is actually our whole thing. We have 4 whole things. What percent of 4 is 7? Look at this little study tip here. It says in percent problems, the base usually follows the word of. So whenever you see the word of, that's your base. Just remember that little tip. Okay, now do cross products. 7 times 100 equals 4 times x. Doesn't matter which one you put on which side of the equal sign, okay? 700 equals 4x. Divide both sides by 4, and we find out that x actually equals 175. So what does this mean? X is 175. It means that 7 over 4, 7 is uh, parts of a base of 4 is the same as 175%. So like if you got all 4 questions right, plus you got 3 bonus questions right, you got 175% on your test. Let's review for just a second. How do you write 24% as a fraction? 24 over 100. How do you write 13.7 as a fraction? 13.7% as a fraction, excuse me. 13.7 over 100. How do you write 210% as a fraction? 210 over 100. A quick review for you. All right, example number 4. This time it says we're going to find the part. What the question reads, what number is 5.5% of 650? Okay. Do we know what is the part? No, I see the word of, so what's my base? My base is 650. Remember, the base follows the word of. 650 is our whole thing. And what is the percent? We do know that it's 5.5%. Okay? How do you write 5.5% as a fraction? 5.5 over 100. And what don't we know? We don't know our part. That's what we don't know. Okay. So now, let's see if we can solve this. We have 5.5 over 100 equals our part, remember, over our base. And our base is 650. And our part is what we don't know. So it's going to be x. We'll cross multiply 100 times x equals 5.5 times 650. And then we multiply 5.5 times 6, and we get 3575. So 100x equals 3575. Divide both sides by 100. We find out that x equals 35.75. And actually, dividing by 100, remember, you can just move the decimal. You have 2 zeros, you can move the decimal 1, 2 places, right? You get 35.75. What does that mean? That means that 35, here we go down here, sorry, 35.75, that part of 650 is the same as 5.5%. Okay, let's look at a graph. Can we do it with a graph? I think we can, really, guys. Here's a graph, and we use the graphic to determine how many of the 1,074 youths surveyed do not clean their rooms because there is not enough time. Is that why you don't clean your rooms, guys? Okay. Well, what is our part? We have to determine, what are we trying to find out? How many don't clean their room because there is not enough time? Which of those is not enough time? 29%. So we know our percent is 29%. What is our part? How many of the 10,774 used? How many? We don't know. How many U's do we have altogether? 1074. Okay, we have a part over a base equal to a percent, or x over 100, right? So our part we don't know, our base we do know, it's 1074. Our percent we do know, it's 29% or 25.9 over 100. I'm not going to do the multiplication on this one, but you will cross multiply and you will solve and find out that how many U's actually don't clean their room because they don't have enough time. And I'd like you to solve the rest of this problem on your paper and have an answer for me for next class. All right, here's another kind of related percent problem. This time we don't know what the base is. Here we go, 52 is 40% of what number? Oh, look what follows of. What number follows of? So whatever follows them of is the base, right? Whatever follows the word of is the base. So what is the base of what number? That's what we don't know. So that's going to be x this time. What is the part? 40%? No. 40% is our percent. So 52 must be our part. So part over base, right? Here we go. Part is 52, base is x, we don't know, equals 40% or 40 over 100. Cross multiply, we get 40x equals 5,200. Divide both sides by 40. X equals 130. So what does that mean? It means that 52 over 130 is the same as 40%. It's beginning to be a little clearer now that we've done a bunch of them. Oh, I hope so, because guess what? Here you have 5 problems to do for practice for tonight. Good luck with it. I also want to remind you, if you've had any questions on specific things through this lesson, please make notes so that you can ask. Don't come in tomorrow and just say, I don't understand. I want to hear what it is exactly that you understood and what you might have a specific question on. You might need to listen to some of these things twice because they are a lot harder than what we were studying last chapter. But once you get the hang of them, they're very easy. I know you're all going to do great. Thanks.